Welcome everyone to our new video. As you can see, this video is titled "The Truth About Drywall." So just to give you guys a little insight about drywalling in a mobile home. It's not as easy as it would be in a regular home. And I say that because it's all about what is behind your wall. What is going to be behind your wood panel. Truth is, you kind of don't know. One, the framework could be really flimsy, which would cause you to put a better frame in for your drywall. Or you're looking at studs that aren't even or studs that are missing, which will cause you to put new studs. So that's the truth about doing renovations with mobile homes. You kind of just don't know what you're going to see once you take that wood panel off. And also a little note, drywall in general, okay, so it's heavy, right? It's not as light as a wood panel. So there's different things that you have to do with putting a drywall up versus, you know, trying to just kind of, which I've seen in other videos where people would just kind of spackle over the over the wood panel, the old wood panels. They'll kind of spackle over top or mud over top and then smooth it out, sand it, and then paint it, which is not a bad idea because I've seen the results and the results actually look pretty good. However, I just think drywall is just better in general because it's going to be more sturdy. It's going to, I don't know, to me, I think it's going to put value into your mobile home if you plan on, let's say, selling it in the future. You know, your buyer is going to see the difference in that sense. Like, yes, it looks nice to the naked eye with the whole wood panel and spackling, but I just think it's just a lot better to put drywall. And I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the insulation as far as weather when you're dealing with heat or, you know, cold. It's just nice to know that your house has good insulation. So anyway, going back to a little bit of the truth about drywall. So with that, you do have to make sure that your studs are going to be in a good position to put your drywall up. You want to have a stud on the left side, the middle, and the right side of your drywall. So, and that is in general because when you're putting up a drywall, if you don't have a stud that's going to go into the middle, and let's say you just put studs on the left and the right of it, and then you start to nail, screw it in, you're going to have to deal with maybe not having enough support for your drywall. And that's the last thing you want to do when you're putting it up. If you don't have enough support to hold the drywall, your drywall could fall, slip, you know, months to come, years to come. You could probably see your drywall slipping and cracking, and then you know, you start to see the unevenness of your paint. So a lot of things can happen when you don't have the right support behind your drywall, because drywall is heavy, you know, so you want to make sure that you have it up real nice and tight. So this is a small piece, so you can see there was no stud in the middle, but there was a stud on the left and the right, and that is okay because it's a small piece. You're not dealing with a whole sheet of your sheetrock. So and also another note about the truth about drywall is your measurements. When you're doing renovations, you'll kind of see that not every room is measured evenly. You'll have one side of the room be a certain amount of inches, and then the other side of the room is a little shorter or a little longer. That's just the truth, I think, of any room you're about to do, even if it's a regular home or a mobile home. Your measurements for the floor too, they won't be even, so you kind of have to work around that. And also want to note that when you're cutting your sheetrock, make sure you're cutting on the side of the paper. Do not cut on the side of the sheetrock, which is the white part. And I've done that a couple of times, not realizing that it's not the paper side, and it will start to crumble. So don't do that. Make sure that you're cutting on the side of the paper. And also, just a little note too about when you're measuring where you have to cut for your outlets and stuff like that. What I'm doing relatively is the lazy way, to be honest, where I'm just, you know, marking it with a pencil and moving on, and then trying to cut as I go. It's hard for me to tell you guys not to do something when you can obviously see that I'm doing it. And I'm just gonna say, when you're renovating, you kind of, you know, and you guys would know when you start to do it, you kind of go, okay, look, this is what's gonna work, because I don't feel like, you know, doing it the right way at this point. Like I said, it's hard for me to say don't do that, but don't do that. And I say that because it will take you longer to do something when you're trying to half-ass it, and that's the nice way to say it. As you can see here, because I'm not measuring it the right way and I'm just trying to eyeball it, it did take me a lot longer than it had to. But I would say too as well, I had issues with this little piece, and that is because of what was behind it. Not realizing, because I was like, well, what's going on? Why is it not fitting? You know, why is like this side not the same as the other side? And remember what I just said was measurements are never going to be the same from one wall to the next. And that's because on the left side, it was even, it was smooth, it was a smooth transition as far as the stud in the back. However, on the right, it was not a smooth transition at all. It had to do with the outlet being there, and it wasn't making that side smooth at all. To the naked eye, as you're looking in the video, it looks smooth. You know, you're kind of like, well, what's wrong with it? But when I was actually doing it, I could feel it. I could feel that on the left it was smooth, and then on the right there was like a little hump. And the stud behind that was a little raised versus the other side. And of course, you kind of don't know that until you're actually putting your drywall on that spot. And you know, of course, you can't just stop and take the stud out. You have to kind of go along with it. So you kind of work with it and you make it work. And that's what I did with this piece. So when I kind of realized that, okay, it's just going to be different. I'm not going to be able to make this smooth. So the work is going to be with when I'm doing the mudding, which I'll show you guys in another video, the whole mudding process and the truth about mudding. But yeah, so I started to just go ahead and nail it in, screw it in, sorry, not nail it. Make sure you're not nailing drywall in. You do have to screw it in because it's heavy. You definitely don't want to just nail it in. You want to make sure the support is there. So once I screwed it in, I took the portable saw there and just cut that piece and evened it out with the window. And that part was easy. But yeah, so we worked a good part of the day. You can see it's dark outside on the drywall, but we got the drywall up. Everything is in and ready for mudding. We put a new light fixture up there as well. But I'll go through the whole lighting that we did for this room in another video. And this room relatively went smoothly as far as putting drywall up too. I know we had our little mishaps of measurements and stuff, but compared to the master bedroom, it went pretty smoothly. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.